welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Paul,
And I'm Patrick.
and today we're going to be talking about Markiplier's Iron Lung movie, which seems to be making a fairly good attack on the box office this year. So,
Yeah. Hands up out there if you'd never heard. There's some of you will never have heard of Markiplier. Even more of you will have never heard of Iron Lung. This one crept up on me, Paul. I had no idea that. Should I call him a streamer or a YouTuber? Markiplier,
content
live
creator.
streamer, I guess. Content creator who's been around for a long time, very successful in social media, streaming, etc. Made a movie, and my God. Paul, it's done incredibly well. Like let's not say they did okay. I think incredibly well is the only way to phrase this.
Yeah, like it's come out quite so it's had quite a good build up. We've talked about it before on some of the shows that we've done. So, yeah, because we've had a kind of a good string of independent filmmakers from that have originated from content creation, from YouTube or Twitch
Mm.
and stuff like that. But Iron Lung has been the first one that has been fully, I guess, a full independent one. It hasn't been backed by a massive, because Netflix talk to me was backed by
Mm.
Netflix. This has been entirely funded by Markiplier himself. Um,
Yeah, and like no A24, it's not just, and I think this is something to make clear to people as well. It's not just about funding, the cost of making it, the producing the film itself. It's the distribution, that the whole getting it out there. Like this, from what I can tell, has very much been a solo run. Obviously there are some realistic logistics when it comes to getting things in cinemas where you do work with partners, etc. But if we're talking major studios have that all sewn up, people like A24 still aren't a major studio. So, they're part of a pipeline for a lot of people. This is that next level down of this is as close to do it yourself as I think we've seen be successful, Paul.
yeah, that's the interesting kind of tip. So to be clear, it is only getting released limited around the world outside of America. So like we haven't actually gotten to see the movie. So this isn't a review
Mm.
of the movie itself. It's more about this is big for the industry because it is big. It's a big impact of someone who is it's like a successful passion project for
Yeah.
but with the aim of being a independent released film. So like that's a really
Yeah,
interesting one, and it's made massive waves within the industry itself.
as well it should. So, like, hitting people with the box office for the weekend. Okay, first things first, it didn't top the box office. It made 18.5 million or so, or 18 and change. I can't remember what it was. But you're talking an $18 million opening weekend, which in the weekend that there was good enough for second place. But
Yep.
it was almost first place at a bunch of a bunch of points. Like it could have been the number one box office film in America. That's not an easy thing to do. Like, and I mean, no matter how this may be dump time of year, and yes, it may be the quietest weekend, blah blah
Mm.
blah. But Paul, it's not like nothing else. And here's the weird thing for me: it's not like nothing else in the genre
Yeah.
wasn't coming out and competing with it. The originator of the genre, and not the originator, the one of the masters, Sam Raimi, also had a movie come out that only pipped this to the post. What would it have been like if that movie hadn't existed? Like, could there not only would Markiplier's Iron Lung be top, but how much more would it have gotten without competition?
So yeah, this is the so yeah, it's been an interesting kind of like ring of box office stuff. So yeah, with Send Help coming out as well, it's probably going to get knocked, as you say, a little bit further down because you've got probably heavy industry backers trying to push Send Help kind of thing against this one. But yeah, it's been really surprising. So the I think the budget was 3 million, was about 3 million.
Hmm.
So the 18 million that it made back on its opening box office has been incredible.
Yeah,
But yeah, like it nearly knocked off Disney from a 3 month or from a 6 week.
10 week. I think it was a 10 week run of
Yeah,
having the
nearly
top.
knocked it off. It had. I think at the time it was. I think it did eventually hit. I think on the Friday it did hit number one, and then it came back, and then it was overtaken again, kind of thing. So it had a good kind of
Yeah,
I guess,
It
kind of
just didn't
race.
win. It didn't win the whole weekend, but it won a few of the battles along the way, a few of the waypoints.
Yeah, which is
Paul,
which
there's yeah. Sorry, go for it.
I was just going to say, which is great for an independent, which a fully independent kind of film going up against heavy hitters. So
Yeah, and but like again, as I say, it's going up against a heavy hitter in its own genre. That's tough for regular, studios aside. Just getting punters in the door, and you're like, well, you have two horror films to choose from. And they've managed to hold their own with Iron Lung, because I'm going to start saying they, because it was a whole group of people. Markiplier's the face of this, but there were other people that were instrumental to it, I'm sure. Here's the thing, Paul. We usually do our calculations when it comes to profit. You go, right, you take the budget of the movie plus, and we all have our own different calculation, our own different metric for what it takes to market a movie, and then what you lose in distributor costs or whatever else. 3 million without a marketing budget.
yeah,
That's 3 million without a marketing budget. As in, there is no assumed marketing budget on top of that, because the marketing was done through their own, channels, through their own fame, through
yeah,
word of mouth, etc. This has shaken the industry for many reasons. And that financial one, you don't think cinemas now? Like, I think CinemaCon this year will be really interesting, because studios and theaters are not the same groups, everybody. They have an uneasy relationship sometimes. How many theaters will love the idea of, hey, we can make money out of people who aren't going to be fleecing us on the back end? He may have opened up a whole new stream of things that will find support from the theater side way quicker than it finds it from the rest of the industry side.
yeah. It's an interesting one in the sense that it also proves once again our point, which is there is a market for that mid grouping movie kind of thing. Which
Yeah.
because back in the early 2000s, late 90s, we used to have a ton of like mid range movies that ranged from the independent to the semi kind of like industry kind of standard. And this
Yeah.
just proves that there's a massive hunger for that kind of thing. And you're like, you're right. If essentially um independent films will have less of a negotiation power with the theaters distributions networks themselves. But the thing is that like with such a small budget and with no marketing kind of budget as well, both of them are going to find a profit, which is going to be really really nice. So like
Yeah.
although Markiplier probably didn't have a big negotiation power against like the AMC network of theaters, I'm sure
No.
that they were like, I'm sure that now if you Markiplier or another person was to do something similar, they would be like very much kind of positive about getting the film onto their network. And when I say
Exactly.
network, I mean cinema network. I don't mean
Yeah, they're
streaming or anything
chain.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I absolutely think so. And it's gonna there's going to now be a new bracket of people who see an opportunity for success instead of trying to go to Sundance or Tribeca or wherever it is, and having a good showing and finding a distributor, maybe hooking up with an A24 or Neon or whoever. There are going to be people now who from the outset will go, I wonder if I can make this work. Do I have a profile? And I don't think it's going to happen for the nobodies. And when I say nobodies, I include people like me. Let's face it, Markiplier has a presence online for a long time.
yeah.
Not with me, but with the world. Like I wasn't, I wasn't a subscriber to his content, so I know frig all about it. But there are going to be people who, one way or another, either it's their idea and their passion project, and they push it through like this, and they have a profile they can use, or there will be people who, instead of looking for A24, maybe start looking for other people with profile and say, do you want to be part of this project with me? And we're going to spend 3 million, 2.5 million, and we're going to have a crack at my vision here. Rihanna, do you want to be in this movie with me? Do you want to do the soundtrack for it? And do you want to be part of my only marketing campaign?
Well, like this is, I don't even think that you need to go to Rihanna like on that scale. The thing is that like the network of content creators themselves are quite large. So if you, because like Jacksepticeye, a fellow countryman of ours,
Yeah.
is quite large right now, and on top of that, Elise Pierce, which is also growing, which both of them are in this movie, and have also been part of the game Dispatch, which is also very popular. Like their profile is becoming quite large, and it seems like they're taking more of an interest in the film industry, or the I guess
Right.
what would deem as kind of traditional media like industry compared to Twitch and YouTube that they'd be traditionally part of. So it wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised if a network of essentially that level of content creators do band together to just either make a studio themselves, like to start supporting like content creators from those platforms to create their own content, to create their own movies and their own visions, or someone like, and this is going to show my knowledge of like content creators. Rooster Teeth are coming back in some fashion. Brittany Burns, which has rebought most of the stuff. That's already an established brand that has also two movies under its belt of independent movies
Okay.
as well, and also other content as well, which has been distributed before. That level of studio could come back. Rooster Teeth could come back as a production house for this level, which it was trying to do beforehand, but it could come back as
Okay.
well. So like that's the thing is the if we were thinking about it, there is this weird mid range of content creators from YouTube and Twitch and stuff, and from the internet themselves, machinima and stuff, that could come
Hmm.
in as this kind of middle group that starts developing their own independent films and their own studios and stuff and gains more traction. Because let's be fair, I think the general audience are very much bored of remakes and sequels, and I think that's very much a hive mind mentality right now with the audiences. So having essentially a group of people
Hmm.
coming in to do more individual, independent kind of stuff could be a great market, or could be opening a great
Yeah.
market space.
And you know who's opened the door for this more than the audience even? The studios. Do you remember that whole 19 release window BS? Yeah, well, studios, they played with fire and they've found that some of their decisions have come back to burn them a bit. And one of the big burns, I think, is what you're just talking about there is there are people, like you say, you're going to get some bums and seats for cinemas for limited releases now. You know, it's going to be it's never going to be all of the box office, but it's going to be a percentage of box office where people are going to something that's only going to be in 500 theaters for 2 weeks and then be on streaming. And here's the thing, it wasn't us, it wasn't the viewers, it wasn't, a disaffected group of people in the audience that said, this is what I want. It was studios going, oh, I think streaming is where I need to get to. And now making straight to streaming movies. I'm now making movies and putting them on streaming that I kind of wish I'd put them in the cinema. There's been a few recent examples of that.
Yeah,
I think you're right. The conditions are kind of forming where this could actually really become an alternate business model. Let's say like a third string. So you got your top level, um, big name, big push, what used to be called blockbuster, but I don't think that's an appropriate term anymore.
yeah.
Those big ones. Then you've got that kind of, we're still able to make them, and they're a bonus for streaming. And then you've got the stuff that we love having this in a cinema, and we love that it's going to be great streaming content because it'll go on our platform. And that last string, that's where these people will come in. That's where Markiplier has just shot a flare in the air. And I think a lot of people are staring at it like us with joy and happiness for, small creators. And there's somebody at the other side of the lake, Paul, in the nice big house, that's looking at that flare going, oh, crap. Oh, crap. This may change things and I may have less control over the industry I once, moguled my way through.
Very much so. So this is the interesting kind of like development, because yeah, it's just proven the fact that we're like it's an interesting kind of mirror image to the game industry, because AAA games are now slowly kind of becoming less and less the big popular thing, and more independent, which is independent games are becoming the more bigger money makers. So the thing is that
Mm.
I think the film industry is slowly going that fashion as well. I think we're just more interested in kind of, I guess, like it's sentiment, not sentimental, kind of. I like to say,
Authentic.
yeah, authentic content in the sense that passion
Yeah.
projects and stuff. It feels right now this
And
formula's been made by studios. So
there's my warning, Paul, with all this, and don't want to end it on a downer, but I have to because it's me. This everything we've just talked about with smiles on our faces, there's always a downside to where there's an up. And the downside is going to be AI.
yeah, yeah,
The adoption, because it's very, very easy to pick on Disney or Universal, Paramount, if they AI a film right now. It's really hard to pick on the people we've just talked about going, yeah, you can do it, you can make it, this is going to be awesome. So at the same time that and I'm on record, Paul, you can speak for yourself, but I know pretty much where you're coming from too. Not big fans of the idea of AI replacing the creative arts and AI usage becoming, just the regular thing.
yeah,
I think this third string that we're talking about is going to be harder for people to be outraged at the use of AI, limited use of AI, which will then become slightly less limited, which will then become slightly less limited. And that's how you then get people comfortable with the idea of, oh, well, this is just how we do things now. And that gets to float up the food chain. They could always use it at the top of the food chain, but now they can do it without public outrage. You seep just enough water into the house slowly, people won't realize that they're being flooded. That's one of my big worries. And that's like Darren Aronofsky. I just wanted to mention it because it's such in sharp contrast to this. You got Markiplier here doing an amazing thing. Darren Aronofsky, one of the,
yeah,
Requiem for a Dream, an all time name director, let's put it that way, has made
yeah,
some good, made some bad, but is definitely a big name director. Is doing like an online history series that's entirely AI generated and is proud of that and is invested in this like AI generation, studio. That worries me because the good people who need to use it to get themselves off the ground, and when I say need, again, I have thoughts and feelings, but let's just say the ones that you feel the most sympathy for, even though you wish they didn't, they're going to be the ones that, unfortunately, I think, open the door for the ones that really don't need to use it but are dying to for financial reasons. That's my warning, Paul.
yeah. No, it's like the good thing is that it's called On This Day 1776. So far, the reviews have been
The Aronofsky thing,
absolutely,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
it's been absolutely ridiculed about how bad it is. So
yeah.
like, it's just proven again that like yeah, AI can do it, but it might not be able to do it well. But I do know that it like yeah, it's a tool that people will use, and like it may
But
fizzle up to the like
do you
if
have the same concern though on my overall point that it's actually going to be the people that we don't want to shout at because it's more, even though we wish they didn't, it's more understandable that they did. The people working on a 10 grand budget and that they're the ones moving into this sphere of the $3 million self-published movie. They're the ones that we're not going to scream that loudly at because it'll just happen and happen. And that's where, again, the guys at the other side of the lake with the big houses will go, yeah, you keep doing that because the more you get people comfortable with it and the better it gets, the more we'll be able to use it and say, hey, look, it was all around you all along and nobody will scream at us. Because let's face it, business is pretty good at letting the little guy take the fall for them.
yeah, like I think in this atmosphere right now with I think anyone using AI and generative AI
Mm.
to generate content, like obviously we know that like tools like Premiere Pro and stuff like that use AI to help, but like generative kind of like AI to the same level as like on this day or primordial sloop or whatever the hell it's called
Oh, yeah, yeah.
use it. I don't think anyone would get away with that. I think there will be always an outrage in some fashion, even for the little guy kind of thing. I think there'll be
Mm.
like I think at this in the environment that we are at now, I think there will always be a large enough group that will complain about generative AI in any space. And I think
I agree with the
that
term now.
that may that may that may change in the future. It may become more acceptable for smaller creators to use it, which goes in limited fashions. But yeah, currently I don't see anyone being too happy with
And I
anyone
certainly
using
am
it.
talking about currently. Yeah, that's my point. That
Yeah, but
I'm talking about the tomorrows that we're looking at, because this is a great tomorrow. You know, we're here talking about a wonderful story that could, and you know, all we've been doing is talking about the great tomorrows that can happen thanks to Iron Lung, and that's my warning. Some bad could get sucked in along with it, and that's where the people at the top will actually encourage it because it'll suit their needs. Because they're not stupid. They know how to condition people.
yeah, well, yeah, I guess, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to be positive, like optimistically positive in the sense that we're able to hold the line against that level of AI.
I love
So,
it. I love it.
but
There you go. A man with a future and a man with nothing but darkness. It's great. We're a lovely contrast today, Paul.
we are. Yeah, come on, Mark, just keep going with your good stuff and
Yeah.
go fuck yourself, Darren.
Please, humans, be creative and win.
Yeah.
Please.
So yeah, so that's the interesting. We'd like to hear about what you think of the Markiplier's Iron Lung. You might see on our socials that we might release short, like couple of word reviews if we do get to catch it. But yeah, tell us what you think of Iron Lung if you've seen it, and also what you think of it in the industry standard kind of space. Do you think this is the future marketplace for this kind of level of stuff? We'd like to hear your thoughts. Anything you want
And
to add?
no, Paul, I'm going to be really surprised to see how many people are like, this is the first I've heard of it, because I hope that this news is spreading wide. So let us know. Please get into those comments.
So on that note, I've been Paul,
And I've been Patrick.
and we've been here at We'll talk to you later.